Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my April 2019 horoscope report for you, where I will give you the need-to-knows for your sign, as well as talk extensively about the general transit energies, the conflicts between them, where they're rolling together, and how you can best use this knowledge of the energies to have the most graceful, productive month possible. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can check out my blog. Among other things, I have every month things about the new moon, the full moon, and how best to use those wonderful energies, and lots of other things there. If you'd like to book a live reading or sign up for my astrology apprenticeship program, you can also do that at anniehelpsyou.com. Definitely check out my new book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, which is an Amazon bestseller. So what's going on this month for you? I'm going to show you the charts that I used to figure out the information that's most important for you. I'll show you in detail for the early, middle, and late degree placements, what you can expect for this month, important themes, and best ways to use the energy. Then we'll transition back to talk about the general transits, and I'll give you the dates to note and all kinds of other things you need to know for this month. Okay, Leo friends, now we're going to go into details about what I'm seeing for you for this month and beyond. I'm calling the theme of this month for Leos, breaking free of the shackles. I've got lots of reasons for that, and I'm going to share some of those with you. One of them has to do with the movement of the planet Uranus, which is the planet who, I call it the shock and awe planet. It's like the jostler, the bringer of major insights and breakthroughs. It's like a lightning strike is how I always imagine Uranus. For you early degree placement, so basically you all who are like July born Leos, or 0 to 9 degrees, and this is coming for the rest of you, so still pay attention. Uranus is actually crossing over into the 10th house, and this is a really important placement because this is your midheaven. It rules what you do out in the world. It rules how, what you're bringing. In many cases, I see a direct link between life purpose, even though this is like a vocation house, career house. There's this like sense of what am I supposed to be doing, and making you want to bring this in a really big way. It also puts pressure on the home life. Okay, so, and I'm seeing this is for early, middle, and late degree Leo placements. This message is the same. The astrological reasoning behind the message is a little bit different depending on which designation you are, early, middle, or late, but it doesn't matter. The point is, there's this story for all Leos where there's a rambunctiousness that's brewing in you, and you want to get your work out there. You want to shine in the way you're supposed to. You've got things that are holding you back. It could be relationships, although it's more probably the relationship you have to relationships that you pull in certain types of relationships, so that it's not just blaming the partner or blaming the people in your life. But there's a way of being in relationship that's getting restructured for you so that you can shine your brightest. We really need everybody, but especially Leos, to be doing their shiny, fiery thing, because that is what they do best. This is the energy of like the actor, the entertainer, the leader, the creative force, the person who we all want to look at and we want to see and, know what they're doing, and anything that they're talking about we're interested in. This Leo energy is just really amazing. And if the people with this strong energy aren't doing their thing, the world is really missing out. And there's this force in the universe that's really waking you up to this right now. There's an energy of expansion, freedom, and opportunities and options within the romantic space that's opening up for you. That romantic space is also the creativity sector. So here we can see there's just like this resurgence of creative forces, and it might involve you taking a break from, certain restrictions in relationship. It might just involve you just taking some space while staying in the relationship. It might involve you moving on from a relationship, or just finding a personal groove or spending time focusing on the creative efforts. So vocation and creativity, this can involve children. This is the house of children, which is the ultimate creative act, right, is creating a child. So all of that energy of creation, however it's being used, whether it's children or creative efforts, is really wanting to expand. At the same time, Jupiter in that placement is going into retrograde. So Jupiter in retrograde is a time when the expansion efforts may get pulled in a little bit so that they can be reevaluated. Okay, so you've had this spree and there is this ongoing long-term theme of expansion and freedom within relationships, but there's also like a pulling back, a pulling in, a reevaluating so that you can be more clear. And that clarity might not be present until later in the month. You know, mid-month is what the guideline I'm using, and I go into more details about this in the general transit report, but there's this urge for action that's coupled with this uncertainty. So, you know, try to keep the actions that you take with as minimal commitment or outcomes as possible until you get that certainty, so that you don't burn any bridges and so that you can use your energy in the best way. For the early degree placements and coming soon for the rest of you, there's this strong focus again on finding your tribe, rekindling relationships, close friendships, networks, circles, groups, where if you've been feeling disconnected from your group or your tribe, you'll be finding that urge, that need to reconnect with these people. And if you're not feeling that earlier in April, as the earlier placements will be, later into April for you middle degree placements, and towards the end of April and into May, this will be getting really strong for you late degree placements. This need to reconnect with tribe or be a part of something or remember who you are through the context of a group of like-minded people. Okay, so for early, middle, end, coming soon for late degree placements, that 9th house is going to be lit up beautifully by the sun. The 9th house is the house of international travel, so you might find yourself wandering very far away or planning a trip or interacting through international business or something with publishing or writing, speaking, teaching, learning, going someplace for education, or just general broadening. Something else that's going on as a long-term theme, and this is it's still present for early, but it's more kind of in the face of the middle and late degree people, is this changing of thought patterns and beliefs about things. And there might be some really hardcore beliefs that you've had that Uranus's movement is disrupting. And in some ways this can bring like a dark night of the soul. But what follows that is often more clarity and more openness, and again, more expansion. So don't be surprised if things that you really believed, if you're starting to wonder, do I really need to believe that anymore? Does that really resonate with me? Like, it's kind of like maybe you release all of your stuff and you take these certain few things with you on your travels, and then you're holding this onto this thing for like a decade or more, or 20 years or whatever. And you look at it one day and you think, why am I still carrying this thing around? You know, it was like a steadfast anchor for you, but this time is a time that's full of, maybe it's time to let that go. You know, is it really serving you? So lots of energy as well for Leos, and this is early, middle, and late in relationship sector. So we talked about this through the different contexts of the romantic relationship. We talked about it through friendships and tribe, but it's also coming through other close one-on-one relationships. So, you know, it could be partnerships in business. It could be, again, marriage or a significant other. It could be client-based. It could be, you know, your person that helps you, your accountant, anything. That sector of people, just your interactions with others, is really being lit up. So there's a focus there. And then also that house of shared resources. So other people's money, you're merging, borrowing money, loans, things having to do with banks, credit, taxes, things like that. So you might see a focus there. And of course, if you're in the United States, it's tax time anyway. But this is bringing a strong focus to that area for you all. Okay, so I'm going to drop in just a quick visual for the charts, just so that you can see the difference between the early, middle, and late degree charts. I like to include an astrology lesson the best that I can, and you all have liked the visuals. So I'm going to drop this visual in to check the charts out just for a couple of minutes, and then you'll come back to me in the video, and I will talk about the general transits and how you can best use the energies this month. Okay, so let's look at the visuals now. Okay, so here are the visuals I was talking about. There, Uranus. Okay, so for Leos, early Leos, we've got Uranus really influencing the 10th house, bringing disruptions in work, really the need to light up and do what you're supposed to do. major awakening. And for the middle and late degree placements, we still have, this looks like it's right there, but it's still very strongly in the 9th house. All right, so for the middle degree placements, when you have a planet that's close to a line of going to the next house, but it's in the other house still, it's really influencing both. So those things that I talked about with like really feeling like you need to find your path and find your voice and get out there, and find your work and maybe do some surprising changes, that is brewing for you middle degree placements, but you still have very strong representation in the 9th house, as do the late degree placements, okay? And that is the things that I was talking about like how you're seeing the world, and possibly those things that you've been carrying around for a really long time as far as belief systems, and sometimes even actual physical things that's representative of a belief system, that you might just be finding that you're dropping belief systems and dropping baggage like crazy. For some people, this can coincide with like a dark night of the soul, where everything that you think is like or sure of is tested. But on the other side of that, there are generally a lot of breakthroughs where you have a resurgence and new fervor for everything. Okay, so we talked about how for the early degree placements, but coming soon for the rest of you, Mars is going to be moving here, focusing on groups, finding your tribe, reconnecting with friends, or connecting with new friends. For the middle degree placements, you still have a little while of it in the 10th house, and for the late degree, you can see even longer. But like I said, this middle, you'll probably be feeling that 11th house move just in a matter of weeks, and then probably more into May, late degree people will start getting that brewing. But while it's here in the 10th, this is adding quite a bit of restlessness for work and oomph for work. The Uranus placements for the early degrees are also bringing restlessness there, so that's a common theme for early, middle, and late degree. But wherever Mars is, your focus goes there. It's like that's where you're gung-ho. So really trying to get work things developed or asking questions about work. In many cases, it will be some uncertainty and vacillating between options. In some cases, it could be recognition coming to you, which is very exciting. The other thing that I talked about was the 9th house being accentuated. Okay, so look at early. Here's the sun is in the 9th. Then coming right here is the middle sun coming. And then it'll take a little bit longer, but definitely still this month you'll feel it. For the late degree, sun into the 9th house. And that is that international focus, teaching, writing, publishing, traveling, different countries, different cultures, different languages, etc. The last thing I mentioned was this focus on relationships. So the 7th and 8th houses, we have relationships come through different houses. We talked about how the 5th house is being accentuated for all of y'all as well. That's the romantic sector. But the 7th and 8th houses, okay, there's late, you can see here, middle, and then more the 8th, but still relationship stuff for early. That there's a strong focus on your interpersonal relationships as well as relationships with resources, money, taxes, loans, credit, things like that. Okay, so those are the things that are most on my mind for Leos. Now I want to talk about these general transit energies, and they're super important. So stick with me for this because there's a lot going on this month that I want you to understand in detail what's happening. I'll give you a couple of key dates to watch. So let's go into that now. So the theme for April 2019 for the general transits is the urge for action, but ... And I will explain in detail as to why I'm calling it that. So the astrological new year begins at the end of March each year, and at that time, the sun moves into Aries, which is the astrological new year. Shortly after, or sometimes coinciding with, in this case, shortly after the sun moves into Aries, other personal planets, meaning the ones that are closest to us, start moving into Aries. So the sun will start out the month in Aries. Midway into the month, we'll have Mercury, then Venus is going to follow shortly after in Aries. So all of this action energy will make you want to do something. So adding to the drive for action, Mars is going to be in Gemini. Mars is how we use our energy, and Gemini is all over the place. And it's always really busy. It's thinking, it's talking, it's doing, and it's restless. So we've got Aries energy, which is among the most restless in the zodiac. We've got Gemini energy, which is among the most restless in the zodiac, combining together, and people are going to want to talk and move around and go places and do things. Plus, we will have just gotten out of a watery, Mercury retrograde covered month of March, and people are going to be ready for some action. So this energy all combined can be great for getting things done, but there is a hurriedness about it, and a recklessness, and sometimes not paying attention. So it increases the chances for accidents or doing something, slip-ups in ways that that aren't positive. So you definitely want to be more careful, pay more attention, add some breath, add some consciousness to all of this oomph energy, because you really need to take more caution. This month carries some awkwardness in the way that, although we have all this fire energy and then the important air energy in the Gemini, there will be all of this like pent-up energy to do things, but because there's still energy in Pisces that's transitioning over, this water energy, specifically in Pisces, can bring more of an abstractness, like an uncertainty, an inner focus, and just really not feeling sure. So when you have the combination of like, you need to do something, but you don't know exactly what to do, then that can cause a lot of wasted energy, just putting a whole bunch of energy into something and then a couple of weeks later realizing, as the Mercury retrograde post-shadow transit energies shift mid-month, that actually the direction is completely different. So you're going to be chomping at the bit at the beginning of April and say, oh, Mercury is direct, time to do stuff. But I really want you to hear that in that first couple of weeks, try to find your certainty before you take action and commit. Mid-month is much better for committing, it's much better for certainty, it's much better for clarity. So the more that you can be sure about what you're doing instead of doing for the sake of itself, the better. And the more you can tune into the inspired action rather than action just for the sake of itself. So like tuning into what spirit wants you to do rather than you just being so whacked out that you have to do something. So, going to the gym, exercising, doing things that can get this energy out. But of course, be careful when you're doing those things as well, that it's not too aggressive and you don't hurt yourself. So definitely watch the signs and the synchronicities closely, because those will be the things that can help match you with the best path. The other thing that's going on this month is that Jupiter is moving into retrograde, and it's going to be there for months, okay? And when this happens, the expansion frenzy that was occurring before then starts to stop, basically. And sensitive people may have felt this even earlier, because there is a pre-retrograde transit shadow transit before Jupiter goes retrograde as well. So if you're finding that even in the open window of February, the end of January and February, if you were starting to slow down, your ambitions were starting to slow down, that could have been Jupiter getting ready to go into retrograde. And so during this time, having kind of a break from the long unbridled expansion spree can be of benefit, because you can take stock and evaluate. So pulling in carefully to evaluate the next steps is a really good move. It doesn't mean you can't do anything or shouldn't do anything. It just means if you naturally are losing your ambitions, then don't be concerned when Jupiter, it will come back, basically. Definitely economy of energy utilization is called for now. That's one of the things that Jupiter, especially in Sag, really wants when it goes into retrograde, is how you are spreading yourself thin and how you can condense your efforts so that you can be much more productive. So basically, fewer brilliantly placed actions that are supported by inner certainty are much better this month than just crazy haphazard action for the sake of itself. I really love this time for spring or down under fall cleaning, and I definitely love Marie Kondo's message to release anything that doesn't spark joy. This way you have surroundings and everything in your life with things only that spark joy. She's got 2 amazing books that I highly recommend, and this is an amazing time for taking action on things like that. Definitely vision boards are well supported at this time. So The new year, the astrological new year started at the end of March, March 20th, when the sun moved into Aries. But the New Year's kickoff party is when the new moon in Aries happens, which is on April 5th. So that's one of the best days of the whole year for a vision board, and the days around there and this time, it's really great for putting things together to help you figure out what you want to create this year. It's a really wonderful time for planting seeds. Something interesting about this month is that most of the days that have sweet aspects are completely coupled with days that have challenging aspects. So there's not as much of an easy time to say this time is good, this time is challenging. You know, we've got a few days right in the beginning of the month where there's a series of sweet aspects, but then pretty much for the rest of the month there's just like dicey, sweet, dicey, sweet, dicey, sweet. So just really tune in to how your personal flow is with these transits. That full moon on April 19th is definitely going to be very intense. It's a full moon at 29 degrees of Libra, so like culmination of relationship things. So definitely look out for surprises then. There are some sweet aspects that go along with that full moon, and there's also some dicey ones that go along with that full moon, but definitely very intense. So if you want a detailed list of the dates of each of the aspects and what goes along with those, you can sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. When you sign up for my free email newsletter, you also get access to my 28-day virtual coaching program, which is free when you sign up. So you can just go deep in with that, and then plus you'll get this written report in your inbox delivered a month early so that you can have a visual understanding of what's coming. AnnieHelpsYou.com, you can book a live reading with me. You can check out my astrology apprenticeship program if you resonate with how I do astrology and you'd love to learn with me. I also have some other wonderful vocational support courses that you can take, as well as subliminals to help train your mind to create the life you want. I've got all kinds of other goodies on my site. If you'd like written reports, astrology reports, horoscopes from me, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com for monthly written horoscopes that often have different information than is in my videos. And there are other blogs there as well too, natural lifestyle blogs. So definitely check those things out, and you can check out my husband's website, iamhelios.com, iamhelios.com. He always has very interesting goodies there, and he does tarot and astrology as well. So I would love for you to check out my new book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days. This is an Amazon bestseller, and it is wonderful for anyone who really wants to shift their experience in life in a very simple but powerful way with this beautiful little book. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.